request Dr. Kokila Desai give floral welcome to our today's chief guest, Dakshesh Bhai.
I am Dr. Dipankar from Anand, and
this patient is in the stimulation day 5. So she has an AMH of 3.6.
this is like day 11 patient. So first I will do the survey scan as I have done previously.
The reason I find it, and it has been proven, that it is more anatomical orientation. So when we move the probe, it is exactly as you are seeing the patient. So it is like an extension of your hand. Also, if it is upside down, then the left of the patient becomes the right of the screen, and the right of the patient becomes the left of the screen. So sometimes the hand-eye coordination may fail. In upside down view, it is the right of the patient is the right of the screen, and the left of the patient is the left.
Cotton swab to clean the cervix. Lavable is already shifted up, but after finishing your this thing, you just freeze and measure the distance. This is Wallace catheter with a, once you reach the internal os, you can feel some resistance, and once you negotiate the resistance, you have to stop your external catheter there. Once it is here, normally embryologist says loudly that it's a 0 before put like how much inside you want to go.
IVF is actually the final hope at times. લાંબા સમયથી કપલ ટ્રાય કરતા હોય છે, જાતે બધું કરી લીધું હોય છે, દોરા ઓરા બાંધવાનું એ બધું પતી ગયું હોય છે, પછી આ લોકો અલ્ટિમેટલી IVF is never the first choice. Hardly you will find it is the first choice. It is ultimately the last choice. So બધી hopes IVF પર હોય. Personally I feel if the patient is engaged with something, even if it is morning walk, जितनी देर आप मॉर्निंग वॉक करते हो, और जो लोग करते हैं, somebody is doing running, somebody is doing somebody playing some game, कोई साइकिलिंग करता है, they become addict to it.
Psychological counselor and support. Deepika Mistry.
Psychological counseling is important in each and every step of infertility treatment. Psychological counseling is very important in during the treatment, pre-treatment and post-treatment.
Hi, Dr. Choksi. Welcome.
That one incubator is there, Cell 160i. So it has HEPA filters inside it. HEPA filters and two plastic things that we need to remove before contraception. Because in Cell 150i it is not required. But that's why you should always read instruction manual of the incubator what you use. Because if you keep that plastic inside your pond, your incubator is gone.
What is minimum, what is maximum, and what is ideal? Minimum is 30 minutes, maximum 1 hour.
Okay. 2 to 3 hours incubation with cumulus is ideal because it can allow additional time for cytoplasmic maturation. You might get more M2 and you might get better fertilization.
Title to this very staid kind of a subject, but let us see what we can do. And I have my brilliant micropolyps and hyperemia. And in what day then would you send a sample for hysteroscopy? For endometrial biopsy. Suppose you are not doing a hysteroscopy and the patient has come to you. You just want to do an endometrial biopsy because she can't afford a hysteroscopy. It's more expensive.
So basically in individualizing the trigger, we have 4 steps to individualize the trigger. First, which trigger should be given? Dose of the trigger. Individualizing the interval of the trigger in the OPU. And at what follicular size should it be given?
What is the need for add-ons? The reproductive medicine is an example of immense progress in treatment and outcome. Since the time we had the first IVF baby in 1978.
So the agenda today is I'll talk about introducing, and I'm talking about immunology and ART and not immunology in ART. So it's an overview, and I'm not going to talk about whether we should process at 1500 RPM or 1200 RPM, because I don't think that's the concern here. The concern is, do we actually need to consider this as an important item?
The role of LH activity is that it is totally responsible for steroidogenic activity of the corpus luteum, upregulation of the cytokines involved in the implantation, and stimulation of LH receptors in the endometrium.
These personalities also will be present for this meeting at the Forum Convention Center in Ahmedabad, which is also having the Windham 5-star hotel arrangement. So it will be a great event, and it's a national event, and I don't think anybody should miss it. So welcome to you all.
What type of HLA that mother and father, which the husband and wife is getting. And it was observed that when the HLA typing C2 receptor is absent on maternal, that means natural killer cell activity is going to be silent.
Conception locally HLA માં તો એમાં karyotyping થઈ શકે, એમાં fish report થઈ શકે.
And now, is it important to establish the gestational?
So the world actually is moving toward the blastocyst transfer. Everybody is talking about that. So let's see where day 2 and day 3 transfer stand their place.
We need to anticipate it and when to do a mock transfer and to. So what is a difficult embryo transfer? A difficult embryo transfer when there is a resistance to the advancement of the catheter, when we'll have to do a cervical sounding, that is disastrous. And
thanks to Surat Society who invited me as a faculty and give an opportunity. We all know that fresh and frozen cycle, we all are very used to some bias related to frozen cycle. So when we are forced to learn something which we are not used to or which we are not routinely doing, and to convince someone related to that is definitely a challenging task, and I would like to in the end come to a conclusion that we are in a wrong mindset of freeze-all and we should keep our mind open for both the strategy.
So for today my aim is that first we need to understand the advantages and limitation of long protocol. We need to accept that our favored antagonist protocol has flaws, and stimulation aim is not just prevention of OHSS, it is also to have good quality and number of oocytes.
Infertility is more of a biological phenomenon, and it's not a certain diagnosis or a certain disease. And most of the time we are doing with multiple etiological factors or mixed etiology for infertile couple, what the clients we see.
Dr. Jignesh Devaria is a senior urologist and one of the few urologists who take interest in andrology. Dr. Rishi Grover, again a urologist from Surat. Are you there, Dr. Rishi?
Can better be appreciated, and if surgery is needed, the route of the surgery can very well defined. So extension penetration preferred route of the surgery is defined. What are the available modalities nowadays for diagnosing the Mullerian abnormalities? HSG, 2D, 3D ultrasound, MRI and histoscopy. Histoscopy was considered as gold standard, but nowadays 3D ultrasound is new gold standard.
Heard yesterday, but yesterday one of the talks did mention that when they looked at the blastocyst EGT, there was more than 50% aneuploidy in women with age more than 30.
So basically what is freeze-all? The freeze-all refers to the cryopreservation of all the mature oocytes or viable embryos after the ovarian stimulation. And the freeze-all strategy basically consists of cryopreservation of the entire embryo cohort and performance of embryo transfer in the subsequent cycle. And although it was initially performed as a rescue strategy, especially to prevent the ovarian hyperstimulation syndrome, but we all know now it has become a part of almost all the IVF centers. So the current trend is to freeze the entire embryo cohort to achieve a deferred embryo transfer, and this is basically called as freeze-all strategy.
So before sending the samples, it is most important to, as you correctly said, the identification of the fetal tissue. So suction, when it's a 7-week suction, I think you will get some maternal tissue as well. So we suggest if you can separate proper fetal tissue, that is more important than complete suction.
Views regarding the blastocyst transfer. My opponent has clearly said that 75% of the time, yes, blastocyst is necessary for the transfer instead of day 3. But still, there are few cases wherein the number of embryos are less. In that case, beggars will not be choosers. In that case, day 3 transfer can be done.
जज साहब, हमारे असील को बच्चा दिलवा दीजिए। अपने प्रॉपर रजिस्ट्री के थ्रू सरोगेट वुमन सिलेक्ट की थी, उसको पूरे पैसे भी दिए। हमारे जो असील है उनको पल्मोनरी हाइपरटेंशन था, वो मां नहीं बन सकती थी, तो हमने पैसे खर्च करके सब सरोगेसी के एक्ट के थ्रू इनको अंदर गर्भाशय में गर्भ ट्रांसफर किया। अभी ये मुकर रही है, अभी हमारे असील को बच्चा नहीं दे रही है।
अगर पैसे दिए हैं तो वो गलत है। आपने बोला पैसे दिए हैं, पैसे नहीं दिए।
1 साल पहले
जज साहब समझिए, हमें तो लॉ के बारे में पता नहीं था। हमें तो हमारे डॉक्टर ने बोला कि पैसे देने से सरोगेट मिल जाएगी, और फिर जो हमको डॉक्टर ने बोला उसके हिसाब से हमने सरोगेट के जितने पैसे बोले थे हमने पूरे दिए। ऊपर से फिर बच्चे बीमार होने की वजह से एक्स्ट्रा पैसा मांगा, वो भी दे दिया। बीच में आके बोला पति बीमार है, उसका अन्य पति कुछ नौकरी पे जा नहीं सकता है, कमा नहीं रहा है, उसके लिए एक्स्ट्रा दे तो हमने वो भी दे दिया। उसके बावजूद उसने पूरे 9 महीने में ध्यान नहीं रखा, अच्छे से दारू भी पी रही थी, स्मोक भी कर रही थी। जो हमने प्रेगनेंसी में उसको सरोगेट को लेने के पहले ही हमने समझाया था कि 9 महीने तुम ऐसे नहीं कर सकती हो, लेकिन उसने कोई चीज का पालन नहीं किया। तो जज साहब, आपको हमें न्याय तो दिलवाना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि हमें तो बच्चे के लिए हम यहाँ पे आए हुए हैं, बच्चा तो हमें चाहिए।
तकलीफ तो मुझे हुई है सर, तकलीफ तो मुझे हुई है। ये मुझे ऑर्गेनिक, नेचुरल, ड्राई फ्रूट्स, मिल्क वो खिला रहे थे। मुझे मेरे पति से दूर रखा, मुझे मेरे बच्चों से दूर रखा, मुझे कहीं जाने नहीं देते थे। आप बताइए, मैं ऐसे में अगर थोड़ा मन बहलाने के लिए मैंने दारू पी ली या थोड़ा सिगरेट पी लिया तो क्या हो गया यार, क्या हो गया। और वैसे भी इन्होंने कहा था बच्चे से मोह मत रखना, तो मेरा बच्चे से कोई मोह ही नहीं था। और जब मेरे पास पैसा आया तो मैं कुछ तो करूँ ना, पैसे का घूमने भी नहीं जा सकती, कुछ नहीं कर सकती।
और असली मुसीबत तो तब चालू हुई, आपने बराबर ध्यान नहीं दिया तो आपकी प्रीमेच्योर डिलीवरी हो गई। हमको बच्चे के लिए आपको और आपके लिए कंगारू केयर कराना पड़ा, आपका ब्रेस्ट फीडिंग के लिए रिक्वेस्ट की, वो किया तो सही, उसके लिए आपने और पैसे लिए, और सब पैसे हमने आपको दिए।
और जज साहब, हमने पहले डिसाइड किया था और बोला था कि वो मातृत्व दूध अच्छा, माता का दूध देना अच्छा जरूरी होता है, और हमने उस पर बस लिखवा दिया था कि वो स्तनपान करवाएगी, लेकिन बाद में डिलीवरी होने के बाद वो मुकर गई है। तो प्लीज हमें न्याय दिलवा दीजिए प्लीज।
और जज साहब, जल्दी डिलीवरी हो गई तो इन लोगों ने मुझे कहा कि आप दूध पिलाइए, इन्होंने मुझे कहा कैमरून थी। अब मैं क्या करूं, लल्ले में मेरा जीव पड़ गया भाई दूध पिला के। मैंने उसे मेरे खून से सींचा है, तो क्या थोड़े से पैसे के लिए मैं उसे वापस दे दूं? नहीं दूंगी।
आपके इरादे अच्छे नहीं है, आप ऐसा नहीं कर सकते। जैसा
किसी बच्चे को आप माँ से छीन रहे हैं, वो इरादे अच्छे हैं? जज साहब आप ही बताइए।
आप ही बताइए इसका, हमारे क्लाइंट को बच्चा देने में आप हेल्प करिए।
See, most important thing is this type of problems were happening before the law. After the law of ART Act, which has come now, there is an official parental order which we take before even commencing the surrogacy. So if parental order is there is no need for such kind of case, because automatically, even before the embryo transfer, the child who is going to come after 9 months has a right, the parents has a right on that child. And that is why the law has come into place. In this law, it is not so. So duty is now on you that no illegal person does the process. So what you have to do, you have to actually check whether he is postgraduate. You also have to see whether he has any 3 years of experience, and you also have to check whether he has done 50 pickups or not. For that, you will ask him to make an affidavit at least that I have done this. You take affidavit, that will be something which will safeguard you, and also make an MOU that to prove the authenticity, to prove his experience will be his liability. He will follow this law. All these things should be mentioned in MOU, and after that, you can ask him to work at your place. It is always better to have documentary evidence, even if the person is your friend or close friend. Always have a proper written document between both of you. And if some friend objects to it, you say, I have document created with my wife as well. You have marriage certificate. So it is with your wife also you have something legally documented. And otherwise she may leave or you may leave. And so document is must in present day.
Than 6.6% in the PGT-A patients, with a huge difference of 36% in non-PGT. This study shows stringent evidence in support of PGT-A for advanced maternal age groups, and no embryo had been transferred is related to well-documented fact that ambiguity increases with maternal age. I would like to thank my Dr. Mona Shroff and Dr. Anish Sani for their constant guidance, and my heartfelt thanks to my colleagues and my team of Lab Nova for their constant hard work. Thank you.
ડોક્ટર છો સર, સ્ત્રી રોગ નિષ્ણાત. વાહ, એમ આવો જવાબ જોઈએ આપણને. એમ હોબીઝ શું છે? ટ્રાવેલિંગ. યસ, નીલમ, who is your favorite hero? શાહરુખ ખાન, your favorite actress? ઓહો, શેલાદ સાહેબ, તમે જે પણ કહો, જો આપણે 3 Idiots જોયું હોય તો બોમન ઈરાની જેવા દેખાય છે. બોલિવૂડ બોલિવૂડ માધુરી દીક્ષિત. Good taste. હવે અંદરના બધા બર્થડે પાર્ટી ઓનલી માનસ. તમે મિસ કરી ગયા પણ આલો કાંઈ જલ્દી કરી.
प्यार हुआ
डेयरी मिल्क, अभी डेयरी मिल्क है।